the figure of speech of the poem The Inchcape Rock by Robert Southey. Figure of speech is a rhetorical device that achieves a special effect by using word in a distinctive way. And in this poem especially, Robert Southey has used imagery in different ways, like sound imagery and imagery, which is also called visual imagery. He has used it very beautifully to engage the audience, and it augments its overall impact. Now imagery means to use figurative language to represent object, action or ideas in such a way that it appeals to our physical senses. And if we create visual representation of an idea in our mind, the word imagery is connected with the mental picture. Alright. However, imagery can also be related to the sound imagery, and it is also called auditory. Okay, auditory, that describes what we hear on reading the line, like music, noise or even silence. So let me tell you more about imagery. Imagery, though there are only two types of imagery used by Robert Southey in this poem, but to make it more clear, I would like to show you one picture. See, imagery can be tactile, imagery can also be olfactory, and it also can be gustatory, apart from the auditory and visual imagery which is used in this poem. Alright, so tactile means which describes the words which have been very cleverly used to show the texture of something, to show the movement and temperature. And gustatory is related to the taste, whether it is sour, sweet, bitter, salty or acidic. Alright, sometimes the poet has the capacity to use those words in such a way that while reading those words your mouth will start salivating. So that is called a gustatory imagery. Olfactory also, that sometime when you some fragrance is described in such a manner, some bad odors also, that you start feeling the same way. So these are the different types of imagery, and in this poem we'll be dealing only with visual and sound imagery. So now let's begin with the poem, and I'm going to take each line one by one. The first line is, no stir in the air and no stir in the sea. So there is a repetition, you can see very clearly here. No stir in the air and no stir in this phrase is repeated twice in this line, so there is a repetition. In the second line you can see there is a alliteration, because the sound of letter S and H makes the sh sound, and that is repeated here in this line twice. Now the next line is, I have underlined that line because there is an imagery here. Okay, her sails from heaven received no motion, her keel was steady in the ocean. So when you read these lines you can imagine that scene without either sign or sound of the shock. So there is a repetition of letter S in this line, so we have alliteration. The next line is also underlined, and when you read this line there is an image that is created. There you create a mental picture. The waves float over the Inchcape Rock. So this again is an imagery. Next line also has got repetition, because so little they and so little they is repeated twice, and apart from there that you see rose and fell. So these are the opposite word, rise and fall. These are the past tense of rise and fall, rose and fell. So when the opposite words, meaning words, are repeated in the same line, that figure of speech is called an antithesis. So, and along with this there is personification, because rising and falling of the wave is just like it has been given some human qualities. So the waves have been personified. So we can also say that in this line, particularly this line, we have got three figures of speech. And mind you, you always have to remember those lines which has got more than two figures of speech because they are very important from examination point of view, because in the same very line you can see there are three figures of speech. So poet is going to ask you that. All right, so the next line is they. The letter the is repeated. The sound of th makes the sound, and the sound is repeated. They and the Inchcape bell. So the figures of speech is alliteration. In the next last stanza of this slide, not the last stanza of the poem, I mean. So here again the letter, the sound th again makes the sound and it is repeated. In the next line the letter s is repeated, the sound of sir is repeated, and in the last line the letter wo is repeated. So there is an alliteration. The fourth stanza has, you see the first line, there is a repetition of sound s. So there is an alliteration here, and the third line also has got the repetition of sound the. Th makes the sound the. There is an alliteration, and the fourth line of the stanza also has the repetition of sound and the blessed of abbot of Aberbrithok. So there is a repetition that brings about the poetic effect in the poem. And alliteration I have already explained in my all the previous lectures also, and this is a very basic figure of speech. That's why I thought I'll not explain, but in this lecture also, when the sounds are repeated in a sentence for pleasing or musical effect, the figure of speech is alliteration. And there are a lot of alliteration in this poem, and that's how it makes it very beautiful and easy to have got a tone in that. It brings about that repetitive tone. So the first line of the next stanza, the sun in the heaven was shining gay. There you see very important figure of speech which I discussed in the beginning of the lecture. There is an imagery here, and also imagery, because when you read this line, immediately every audience, every reader will have a different image as per their exposure. They will have an image of a sun which is shining in the sky. And the second figure of speech here is inversion. Inversion means when the prose order of the word in a sentence is not correct, and the figure of speech is inversion. Now here I am not going to tell you the correct prose order, and that you can comment in the comment section, and that's how I will judge how much you have understood by now, because in my previous lectures all the poems I have given you the correct prose order also for your benefit. Now let me see how much you have understood. So give me the correct prose order of this sentence. The sun in the heaven was shining gay. Now moving on to the third line of the stanza, again the sound of S is repeated. Plus, I have underlined this line because there is a very important figure of speech here, that is sound imagery, as the seabirds screamed as they wheeled around. So there is also imagery, all right, that is visual imagery, but also when the poet says the seabird screamed, you immediately that sounds that comes in your mind. So there is imagery, not only sound but also visual imagery, because when the words are wheeling around a particular place. So the next line has got repetition of th, the sound, again alliteration. The next stanza has the repetition of, the first line has repetition of the sound b. The boy of the Inchcape bell was seen. Okay, so then we come to the third line of this stanza. R is repeated, the letter R is repeated. Again there is a alliteration. He felt the cheering power of spring. In this line there is a personification, because spring has been personified here, because it has been given the power of cheering up somebody. When an inanimate thing is compared to a person in respect of some quality, that figure of speech is called a personification. In the second line, the word highlighted is whistle. It made him whistle, it made him sing. So That figure of speech is onomatopoeia. When a word conveys the sound that it is to be expressed, the figure of speech is onomatopoeia. In the third and fourth line, you can see the letter H is repeated. His heart was mirthful to excess, and in the last line, but the rover's mirth was wickedness. The sound of W is repeated here. Now we come to the next stanza. You see there is an line which is underlined by me. Quoth he, my men put out the boat. So there is an inversion here. The proper prose order has not been used here. He said, my men put out the boat. My men put out the boat, he said. Should have been the correct prose order here. And the last line of this stanza, the sound of letter A is repeated here thrice. Now let's go to the last stanza of this slide. The second line, and to the Inchcape Rock they go. There is an inversion here. So the correct prose order should have been, and they go to the Inchcape Rock. So this is an example of inversion. Inversion is a figure of speech when the prose order of the word in the sentence is not put correctly. Alright. This is basically to bring about the rhyme scheme, to match with the rhyme scheme of the poem and to bring about the beauty in the poem. Down sank the bell with a gurgling sound. I have underlined this line because there is an inversion here. The correct prose order should have been the bell sank down with a gurgling sound. Now, gurgling sound also denotes the sound. So, you can imagine there is onomatopoeia here again. So, I have made it bold. So there are two figures of speech in this line. The second line has got letter B repeated twice, so there is an alliteration. And again, quote Sir Ralph, the next who comes to the rock. Again, there is an inversion. And let's go to the second paragraph, second stanza. The letter R is repeated twice in the first line, so there is an alliteration. And in the last line of this stanza, letter S is repeated twice here. Okay, he steers his course for the Scotland's shore. Let's move on to the last stanza of this slide. So thick a haze overspread the sky. Now on the second line, they cannot see the sun on high. Letter S is repeated twice here for the better poetic effect. The wind had blown a gale all day, and at evening it had died away. So there is personification also, and there is repetition. The word HATH is repeated twice here, and this is an archaic word. Also, the wind has been given, human quality of blowing and dying. All right. So wind has been personified here. So there is a personification. The first line, on the deck the rover takes his stand. There is an inversion here in this line. Actually, the correct prose order should have been the rover takes his stand on the deck. Now, the second line, the letter S is repeated, so there is an alliteration. In the fourth line, you can see this word the is repeated, so there is a repetition, and also the letters th makes the sound the, and that is repeated thrice in the sentence. So there is an alliteration here. In the second, in the next stanza, the third line, it has got an inversion here. Now where we are, I cannot tell. So the correct prose order should have been, now I cannot tell where we are, or I cannot tell where we are now. Alright, the next line has letter W repeated twice, so there is an alliteration. In the next line, they hear no sound. The swell is strong. The letter S is repeated thrice in this line, so there is an alliteration. In the next line also there is an alliteration because the sound of the is repeated. Though the wind hath fallen, they drift along. So sound of the is repeated thrice in this line. In the next line also, the till the vessel strikes with a shivering shock. Sh sound is repeated twice, so there is an alliteration. Now comes the last line of this slide. Oh Christ, it is the Inchcape Rock. So here you can see there is an apostrophe. Now what is an apostrophe? This is a new figure of speech for you. When an inanimate thing or an invisible entity such as God is treated as a person or is spoken to, then that figure of speech is called an apostrophe. Also in this line you can see an exclamation mark. So there is an exclamation also in this line because there is a strong feeling which is expressed in the nature of an exclamation, and he's very shocked. Okay, Ralph the Rover is very much shocked. Okay, and that's why there is a figure of speech exclamation here. So Ralph the Rover tore his hair. There are two two sounds that are repeated in this line, sound of r and h. So there is an alliteration here. The next line, he cursed himself in his despair. Again, the sound of her is repeated, h sound is repeated here. So there is again one more alliteration. The fourth line of this stanza, the ship is sinking beneath the tide. So there is repetition of the word the. So there is a repetition here. So that was all about the figures of speech of this poem, The Inchcape Rock by Robert Southey.